Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is your boy Fitz TV here, aka G33. I want to welcome you guys back here to the Legit Shoot podcast, here with your Monday Night Raw review and results for July 13th, 2020. Hope everybody is staying safe and healthy. The show just ended just seconds ago, all right? And the main event, we had Sasha Banks and Bayley defending the women's tag team titles once again against Kari Sane and Asuka, the Kabuki Warriors. What a fantastic match. Sasha and Bayley have been killing it. We'll discuss that and everything. This was the go-home show for Extreme Rules, the horror show. We do have a pay-per-view at the end of the week, and there's going to be a lot of coverage for the podcast this week. You guys are going to see a lot, all right? We have the Monday Night Raw review, which you guys are listening to right now. We're going to have Extreme Rules preview and predictions later this week as well. We're also going to have NXT. I'm very excited for Tegan Nox versus Io Shirai. We have SmackDown on Friday, and then Saturday, all right? I'm thinking about it. I don't know it, all right? Leave a like if you guys want me to do this. I'm thinking about doing a review for Impact Slammiversary. Slammiversary is this Saturday. That is going to be like the biggest Impact show of the year. You know, there's going to be some new faces. Some former WWE superstars will be appearing on that show. So maybe I'll do a podcast for that, depending on if you guys want to see that. Let me know. Leave a like if you guys want me to do a review for Impact Slammiversary. And then Sunday is the big day, Extreme Rules, the horror show. We will be doing a live reaction. I only do live reactions for big pay-per-views, and with some of the stuff we have, like the Swamp Fight, the CGI Eye for an Eye match, the Sasha versus Asuka match, I'm going to be doing a live reaction for those matches this Sunday. And then right after Extreme Rules goes off the air, of course, we will have a live Extreme Rules 2020 review right here on the channel, on the podcast. So all week, there's going to be tons of podcast content for you guys. So make sure you guys are subscribed and you have notifications enabled so you do not miss anything this week. Thank you guys for the love and support. We have gotten over 5K subscribers. I'm so excited and so happy about this, and I'm really enjoying the growth that the podcast and the channel is going through. So thank you guys so much for all the support. You guys are amazing. And I'm probably going to be doing a 5K subscriber Q&A / giveaway soon. I'm trying to figure out how I want to do that. So just wanted to make that quick announcement. Thank you to everyone that's listening on Spotify and Apple and all those other platforms. I have been a little bit inconsistent with uploading the YouTube video file to the platform where it gets distributed to Spotify and all those other podcast platforms. So forgive me for that if you guys are seeing the podcast episodes a little bit later for my Spotify and Apple Podcast listeners. All right, but I'm gonna be more on top of that going forward. There was one more thing. Yes, the SmackDown review. All right. Friday, we did have the SmackDown review, and I want to thank you guys for all the likes and the support you guys gave it on that. It was the worst SmackDown of the year by far. I hated the show. I ranted on the show. You guys didn't go check out that review, please do, because I went off. I really did. So hopefully you guys appreciated that, man. The karaoke disaster. That's what we called it. All right. And Raw tonight. Raw was decent. It was a decent show. I don't know. The last couple weeks, Raw has been decent and SmackDown has been complete garbage. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if they care more about, if Bruce is putting more effort in the writing Raw than he is SmackDown, because that's the vibe I'm getting. And I also noticed that Monday Night Raw, that's the amount of talent they have on that show. If you go division by division, like if you go into the world title division, you go to the United States mid-card division, if you go to the women's division, and you look at the talent that is on, the Monday Night Raw roster compared to SmackDown, it's so lopsided. Monday Night Raw has so much more talent than SmackDown does. And I know they didn't do a superstar shakeup after WrestleMania this year because, everything that is going on with the pandemic, but still, I know we're in this pandemic era where we're most likely going to have performance center shows for probably the rest of the year. There's reports that they want to do live shows by the end of September, but I just don't see that happening unless, some magical vaccine is out or things just magically get better, which, and especially in states like Texas and Florida, things just continue to get worse. More and more cases are, increasing by the day. So I don't know. But I really feel like we need to have some kind of superstar shakeup or draft, because SmackDown just has nobody, especially with, guys like Roman Reigns, and not being there at the shows, and Sami Zayn and etc. Daniel Bryan hasn't been there for a couple weeks. Like, SmackDown doesn't have any talent. They're relying on Braun Strowman and Bray Wyatt to carry the show, and it's not doing the job. Sasha and Bayley are incredible, but, they're not going to be enough just to carry SmackDown by itself. And the Jeff Hardy and Sheamus storyline is garbage, and we all want it to end. So definitely SmackDown needs more talent. Raw has so much more talent than SmackDown, and it's so apparent if you watch these shows. Raw has been so much more better than SmackDown the last month, and it sucks. It really does suck. I want both Raw and SmackDown to succeed. I don't just want one show. I want everything to succeed for WWE, So I really think they really need to consider or look into getting more talent on SmackDown. Maybe bring it up the Undisputed Era, getting a couple of more Raw pieces over the SmackDown just to make the show better. Because right now, Raw has all the talent and SmackDown is just, has nobody. So definitely that's something we need to look into. I'm looking into the chat. I see Junior. I see Andrew. I see Jay Williams. Everyone in the chat, man, leave a like on the video right now, all right? It really helps us out. But thank you guys, everyone who's listening on the stream. If you guys are watching afterwards, still, your love and support is amazing. But we're going to get into Monday Night Raw right now. We're going to talk about this stuff. And I'm very excited, for Extreme Rules, just because I'm so excited for Sasha Banks and Asuka. I was a little bit worried that Sasha and Bayley were not going to retain tonight, just because Sasha and Bayley are going to lose those titles probably sometime in the next month. All right, maybe the next couple weeks. Because if Sasha and Bayley are gonna be feuding going to SummerSlam, that looks like the only thing. Maybe Sonya Deville, but let's be honest, it's SummerSlam. It's basically a mini WrestleMania, right? So, and I tweeted this out on Twitter, with the returns of Bianca Belair and Shayna Baszler tonight, right? You're not going to really need Sasha and Bayley on Raw as much going forward. You can leave them to do their thing on SmackDown, have their feud that could be 2 to 3 months. Remember how long Becky and Charlotte feuded over the SmackDown Women's title a couple years ago? Sasha and Bayley can carry SmackDown's Women's division with their title feud for the next 2 to 3 months. I'm talking about from, August all the way into the deep fall, all the way through Hell in a Cell. Maybe even through Survivor Series. That's how we've all been waiting for Sasha and Bayley for so long. We're all waiting for that championship feud. So definitely now with the returns of Bianca and Shayna, you don't need Sasha and Bayley's presence as much as you've needed in the last couple months, with Charlotte not being there, Ronda being at home, and Becky being pregnant. And I really hope WWE brought Shayna and Bianca back, because they realize that they're so talented that they can't be left rotting at home or being in catering doing nothing. That they're actually going to build them up to contend for the Raw Women's Championship with Asuka. Because the only reason why we're getting Asuka versus Sasha is because Charlotte is gone right now, and there's nobody else for Asuka to go up against. Even though it was unexpected, no one's complaining, because it's Sasha Banks versus Asuka. Nobody's going to complain about that, right? So, if Sasha and Bayley had lost the tag team titles tonight to Kari and Asuka, no one's going to complain. Because there was, we've heard all these reports of Kari potentially staying with WWE a little bit longer. WWE potentially giving her a raise. You know how WWE operates. They believe they can buy anybody. If you throw a certain amount of money at somebody enough where they just can't refuse, then you basically have them in your back pocket. And that's what it's looked like it's happening with Kari Sane. Plus, when a superstar is considering leaving, you see factors like WWE may give them a title reign just to be like, hey, here, we're going to give you this title reign. We're going to prove to you that we want you here. Just go ask the Revival. Remember when the Revival asked for their releases last year and WWE gave them a tag team title reign and then they just left? That's exactly what I thought they were going to do with Kari Sane. Give Asuka and Kari Sane the women's tag team titles, make Asuka a double champion, and it would help convince Kari Sane to stay. I haven't heard any reports if Kari has signed a new contract or what's going on with her. I'm guessing Kari's going to stay for now because they would have written her off TV if she was actually leaving. But I would have not complained, nor would I have been surprised if Asuka and Kari Sane had won the women's tag team titles tonight. They're great. But, you've been advertising Extreme Rules and Sasha versus Asuka as Sasha attempting to become a double champion alongside Bayley. And Sasha and Bayley have been on this giant swing of momentum, and they both have big championship matches at Extreme Rules. So it really wouldn't have made any sense, even if you did give the titles to Asuka and Kari Sane, and people wouldn't have complained. It really would have made sense from a storyline perspective to give Kari and Asuka the women's tag team titles. With everyone's saying Sasha's trying to become two belts Banks. That whole narrative goes out the window. We're going to have the Extreme Rules prediction show probably either Wednesday or Thursday. I'm still debating on that. It'll be sometime in the afternoon. But, I've been saying this the last couple weeks. Everyone knows that Asuka is going to defeat Sasha. It's going to be a great match, but there's a bigger story here. It's not about Sasha or Sasha becoming Raw Women's Champion. Sasha's going to be the one to end Bayley's reign as SmackDown Women's Champion. Excuse me. We all know this. The only person on the SmackDown Women's division, you can make a case for Sonya Deville, but we haven't really seen her the last couple weeks. I don't know why. But other than Sonya Deville, the only person that you can legit make the best argument to take that title off of Bayley is Sasha Banks. And we've been saying this since last October when Bayley first turned heel and became SmackDown Women's Champion again. And here we are over a year later. Like I said, Sasha's the only person taking that title off of Bayley. What's going to happen, and I feel like most of us can predict this, Sasha and Asuka should be the main event of Extreme Rules. I think we all know Bayley's going to retain against Nikki Cross. All right? I like Nikki Cross, but I just don't see her winning. Maybe a couple years from now, maybe she'll finally become a champion, but it's not happening today. All right? Bayley's going to retain against Nikki. I don't know if Sasha's going to be involved in that match because Sasha's going to have her own match with Asuka. I think Sasha versus Asuka has been the most built match for Extreme Rules. So what I would be doing, Sasha versus Asuka should be the main event. And what happens is I would have Bayley, or before the match, I would have Sasha tell Bayley, oh, I need to do this on my own. Like, remember when Bayley was going up against Charlotte? And Bayley told Sasha, I need to do this on my own. Don't be in my corner tonight. Just support me from backstage. Sasha needs to do the same thing. Tell Bayley, I need to win this match on my own. Unless out of nowhere WWE decides they want to merge the Raw and SmackDown Women's Championships. But we know they're not going to do that. But Sasha should have Asuka almost defeated. Then Bayley comes out, right? And then Bayley does something that costs Sasha the match. That's when the tension is built because Sasha is so pissed now at Bayley getting in her business that it's going to cause friction in their relationship. Then eventually they lose the tag team titles. It could be to an NXT team. It could be to Asuka and Kari Sane. Or it could be to maybe Ruby Riott and Liv Morgan or somebody else, right? At least build somebody up to take those titles off Sasha and Bayley because they have made the women's tag team division the best tag team division in all of WWE in the last month and a half. But after you do that, then you can really, have the story of Sasha and Bayley's friendship finally ending. And then SummerSlam's main event, Sasha and Bayley for the SmackDown Women's Championship. And we finally get that dream match. 5 years to the day of Sasha and Bayley's classic at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. We know WWE celebrating, the women's evolution this week, because 5 years to the day was when Sasha, Becky, and Charlotte made their debut on Monday Night Raw. 5 years ago when Nikki Bella was Divas Champion. It makes so much sense. It's really easy to book this. We know Sasha's not going to beat Asuka. There's a bigger story there. Plus, with Shayna and Bianca back, now you can move Asuka on to feuding with Shayna. And, I'll talk about that in a little bit. But, honestly, that's my thoughts going into Sasha versus Asuka this Sunday. And the tag team title match basically, solidified what's going to happen at Extreme Rules. Sasha and Bayley got the win. Kari took the tap out, and we all knew that was going to happen. Asuka was not going to lose. Sasha was not going to lose. Bayley's not going to lose when they all have title matches at Extreme Rules. Kari doesn't have a match for Extreme Rules, so it made the most sense that she would take the L here. All right, basically, if you guys can't see where WWE's going with this, unless they make a last-minute change, they either merge the championships or to have Sasha and Bayley not feud going to SummerSlam, it's pretty clear where this is all going. It's wrestling 101. So, definitely, that's the thing. But still, let me know what you guys think about that. But Sasha and Bayley versus Kari and Asuka match we've all been waiting for so long. We knew it was going to be a great match, and it was a great match. It was fantastic. Sasha beat Kari with the bake statement with a beautiful counter. Sasha has the best counters into the bake statement. Man, it's so unique. And I cannot wait for Sasha versus Asuka this Sunday at Extreme Rules. But that was your opening shoot. Just wanted to talk about Sasha and Bayley to get us started here tonight. But the rest of Monday Night Raw tonight, I gotta be honest, it was a good show. It built towards Extreme Rules, and like I said, it's most likely because Raw has so much more talent than SmackDown. It's really unfair, but tonight was a good show. The purpose was to build towards Extreme Rules, and they did. They built towards Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler, even though we don't know what the stipulation for that match is. WWE has been teasing that it's going to be a stipulation we've never seen before. I have no idea what it is. I feel like it's going to be some kind of street fight stipulation, just under some kind of different name. You know how basically like Undertaker versus AJ Styles was a boneyard match, but it was just another name for basically a buried alive match. So I feel like it's going to be something like that, but we won't know till this Sunday at Extreme Rules, the horror show. But like I said, Raw was decent tonight. All they had to do was build towards Extreme Rules, and that's what they did. And I'm actually kind of excited to see what's going to happen with Extreme Rules. Even though Raw's creative team sucks most of the time, they've done a decent job building towards Extreme Rules the last couple weeks. But excuse me, show started off with the VIP lounge with Dolph Ziggler. So I drank a lot of water today, so I don't know, I keep having a little bit of gas, but excuse me. Basically, we had MVP, he's calling himself the U.S. champion. Last week they did reveal the new United States champion, and I said last week on the podcast that I was not a fan of how they revealed the new U.S. championship belt. You already have MVP walking around with that new belt, and the belt looks absolutely beautiful, but you have him walking around with that belt calling himself the United States champion when the real champion is still Apollo Crews. And we haven't seen Apollo Crews on Monday Night Raw the last couple of weeks, and I believe he's selling the injuries that Bobby Lashley gave him per storyline a couple of weeks ago. So basically, I'm pretty convinced that MVP is going to win this match. It's like I said, Paul Heyman wanted to build Apollo Crews and the U.S. title up, and we know how Vince want stuff. And I'd say MVP and Bobby Lashley have been fantastic. They've been one of the best parts of Monday Night Raw since this whole house show era. Even though I believe MVP should not be in the ring, but still, overall, they've done a really good job with MVP and Bobby Lashley. And I think I'm pretty convinced that MVP is gonna win unless some kind of controversial finish happens at the end. But basically, we had the MVP louds. Dolph Ziggler was the guest, and basically, MVP and Dolph, of course, they're being heels. They talked about how Drew McIntyre has basically been a phony, and even though he's dominant, he has mistakes, and how Dolph not revealing that stipulation until Sunday will be to his advantage, and McIntyre will make a mistake that Dolph will be able to capitalize on. They also showed a replay of what happened last week with Heath Slater being a guest on Monday Night Raw, his final appearance before his 90-day contract or 90-day no complete cost expires. All the reports are hinting that Heath is going to be at Impact Slammiversary this Saturday. So yeah, I'm happy Heath got closer. I just wish WWE would have used him more, because the guy actually has a lot of talent. I'll never forget the segment with Brock Lesnar, how Lesnar said, I don't give a shit about your kids. Iconic line from Lesnar, and Heath's face told the whole story. Heath was an entertaining guy. I just wish he got used more on WWE TV during his time with the company. But McIntyre came out, and McIntyre was pissed. And I like McIntyre when he's super serious. McIntyre can be funny, but McIntyre's at his best when he's pissed. Basically, McIntyre said that Ziggler is a user, and how him and Dolph were never truly fans, not fans, friends, and how Drew was just used as Dolph's heavy, his bodyguard in a way, and how after what he pulled last week with Heath, he's going to be tortured, he's going to be put in pain, and he's going to be hurt by the WWE champion. Basically, then he hit Dolph with KO punch. The same thing that he did a couple weeks ago during that champions versus challengers match we had with Sasha and Dolph versus Asuka and Drew. And I don't know, I laughed when I saw this, because I'm like, all right, they had Drew do this KO punch 2 times the last couple weeks. Is Drew trying to be the new Big Show? Please, let's not. I love Drew McIntyre. He's one of my favorite superstars on the main roster. Let's not try to make him into the next Big Show. No one wants to be the next Big Show. All right, capiche? But also, I don't know. I was just thinking also when I saw Drew do the KO punch, is WWE teasing a KO match? Like, you have to knock your opponent out to win? Maybe it's something like that. We've seen Dolph basically almost knocked out by Drew the last couple weeks. So, I don't know. Maybe Dolph is like, all right, let's have a KO match. First person, the person that knocks their opponent out first wins. We all know Dolph is not winning. It is rumored right now that we're going to have Drew versus either Lesnar or Drew versus Orton for SummerSlam, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But there's no chance Dolph is winning this match. It's just another defense for Drew. We all know what's going on there. All right, Junior said Sasha and Bayley have saved their careers and their brand. I guess in a way you can say that, but I wouldn't say they saved their careers, but they've definitely, they're defining their legacies right now with what they're doing, Junior. I definitely agree with what you said on that. They're definitely defining their legacies with how good they've been during this performance show era. Sasha and Bayley have been absolutely spectacular, since, these performance center shows began. So I'll agree with you on that point. All right, so then moving on later, I will say this, later on in the night, McIntyre was interviewed backstage, and basically he just repeated what he said in the ring, how he's gonna hurt and torture Dolph Ziggler this Sunday, and then Dolph attacked him from behind, and then the WWE referees and officials broke them apart. But we'll just have to wait and see what happens with the stipulation this Sunday. But it doesn't matter what the stipulation is. I feel like we can all agree that Dolph has zero chance, and Drew McIntyre is walking out of Extreme Rules, the horror show, as the WWE champion. We had a tag team elimination match, the Viking Raiders versus Andrade and Angel Garza. I forgot to mention at the beginning of the podcast, one thing that Bruce has been doing is like giving Monday Night Raw like a theme every single match. A couple of weeks ago, we had a Champions Night where we had like all those titles that were on the line. It was like a mini Clash of Champions, and tonight the theme was grudge matches. That was the theme, grudge matches. So basically, when I first saw this, I was like, ugh, because this is, when you look at grudge matches, this is all matches we've already seen. Like KO versus Seth Rollins and the Viking Raiders versus Andrade and Angel Garza. But the thing about it is, like I said, they did a good job with these matches tonight. The in-ring action was pretty good on this show, and it built towards Extreme Rules, the horror show. So I can't really, complain there. The show did its job. But we had this tag team elimination match, and it's like, every single week you see what's been going on with Angel Garza and Andrade. There was a funny backstage moment where, how almost every week Garza's flirting with Charlie Caruso, and Charlie Caruso, she's beautiful woman, all right? And it looked like Garza had a rose that he was going to give to Charlie Caruso, but then the Viking Raiders came out, and basically I think it was Ivar took the rose from Garza and gave it to Charlie Caruso, and Charlie Caruso started saying thank you and getting all flirty with Ivar. So that was kind of funny, and Garza was like, hey, because Garza's usually the guy that's flirting with Charlie Caruso. I also have noticed we have not seen the Street Profits in about 3 weeks now, and they are the Raw Tag Team Champions, so I don't know if something happened with one of them getting the coronavirus. I know that Angel Dawkins, he just had his child a couple days ago, so congrats to him. So maybe he's taking a little bit of time off to be with his newborn son, so congrats to him. Excuse me. So I don't know, but I think they're saving the Street Profits versus Andrade and Garza for SummerSlam, and we still don't know how SummerSlam's gonna look. If it's gonna be a 2-night event, there's rumors saying that there's a chance that it could be a 2-weekend event. We might have SummerSlam Part 1 one weekend, and then have SummerSlam Part 2 the weekend after that. So I don't know. It's definitely gonna be interesting to see what happens with that. But we know that every single week they've been talking about basically the relationship between Garza and Andrade. One week they're on the same page, another week they are having dysfunction. So it was interesting to see what was gonna happen with those two during tonight's match. But they were on the same page during this tag team elimination match. During the end of the match, it was Garza and Ivar. They were the last two in the ring, and Ivar hit what was it? Ivar hit Garza with like a spinning kick. It was the same way he was able to eliminate Andrade earlier in the elimination match, but Andrade, who was still at ringside, saw this, and he put Garza's foot on the rope when the ref wasn't looking, keeping the match going. And then Garza hit Ivar with a power bomb and got the 1-2-3. So Andrade and Garza right now, they are on the same page. We'll just have to wait and see where this goes. Do I see Garza and Andrade winning the Raw Tag Team Champions? I don't know. It looks like I said, they're saving this match for SummerSlam. We still have about I think we have 6 weeks till SummerSlam, so they have enough time to build towards that match. We know that Vince does love Andrade a lot, so maybe, but I don't know. It's too early to say if the if the Street Profits are going to lose those titles to Garza and Andrade. We'll just have to wait and see where they go. But Garza and Andrade get the victory here. So for tonight, they were on the same page. This was great to see. So backstage, we had the Iconics once again. They were, heckling Ruby Riott. The last couple weeks, we seen Peyton Royce beat Ruby, and then last week, Billie Kay, who I say every week is awful in the ring. Billie Kay beat Ruby, so Ruby's been struggling to beat the Iconics. But Ruby said that she wasn't alone tonight, and at first I thought, this was Liv Morgan, because it looked like they were teasing a Riot Squad reunion with Liv Morgan and Ruby Riott, which I don't have any problem, putting another team in the women's tag team division, which has probably been the best division in WWE, the last couple of months since Sasha and Bayley became the tag team champions. Putting another team in there just helps the division. I always say, if you're not going to use, superstars and singles competition, instead of having them in catering, just put them in the tag team division. It's better for everybody. But instead of Liv Morgan, surprising, we saw the return of Bianca Belair. I got very excited for this. You guys know I'm a big Bianca Belair fan, one of my favorites in the women's division, even though Sasha will always be my number one. But it was great to see Bianca Belair come back. I've been bitching and complaining for weeks now that WWE has not been using Bianca and Shayna, and both made their returns. We'll talk about Shayna in just a little bit, but Bianca being back, especially, I've been saying this for the last 2 months, with Charlotte and Becky out right now, and Becky's not coming back till next year at minimum, and Charlotte, we don't know when Charlotte's coming back. We know she's finally taking time off. WWE needs to be using this time to build up new superstars. Use this time to build up your Ruby Riott, your Bianca Belairs, your Liv Morgans, your Shayna Baszlers, so when those superstars come back, we have feuds that we're actually going to be invested in. I love Sasha, I love Bayley, I love Asuka, I love those names, but they can't carry the women's division forever, right? You need to build up to the next generation of stars. Let's be serious here. And I hate seeing Bianca Belair on main event, because she should not be there. She should be contending for the Raw Women's Championship. That's one of the reasons why, Sasha doesn't need to be in the Raw Women's Championship picture. She needs to be focused on Bayley on SmackDown. Because now, and then when Charlotte's ready to come back, you can put Charlotte in the mix. Have Charlotte feud with Shayna, have Charlotte feud with Bianca, and use Charlotte to elevate those names and make some new stars, instead of doing the same, rinse and repeat format of having Charlotte beat everybody and not doing anything for the women's division. So I'm really hoping that, with Bianca and Shayna being back tonight and making their returns, that WWE's actually going to use them going forward. I am a little confused because, I don't know, we saw, this match didn't last long, it was less than 5 minutes. Ruby fought off the Iconics, but Billie Kay, she's terrible in the ring. But they were able to isolate Ruby away from Bianca. Bianca eventually got the hot tag and just ran right through the Iconics. She hit Billie Kay with the KOD, aka the Kiss of Death, for the win. And Billie Kay, like I said, she sucks. How do you not know how to sell the KOD correctly? You're supposed to fall straight down. Every time, she used to do this in NXT. Every time she goes to sell the KOD, she messes it up. Like, she tucks her knees in, and it doesn't look as good as it should be. Like, the KOD is basically a reverse attitude adjustment. It's supposed to be easy to sell. I hate it. Peyton Royce isn't bad, but Billie Kay is just awful. But I hope they use this as a reintroduction to Bianca Belair on the main roster. Because what I want to see going forward is I want them to build up Bianca Belair. This is what I want them to do. You should have Bianca Belair run through most of the Raw Women's division. Have her beat Peyton Royce in a one-on-one match. Have her beat Billie Kay. Have her beat a Liv Morgan. Have her beat a Ruby Riott. Have her beat a Natalya or a Lana. As bad as Lana is. Build her up. Have her get victories over many different superstars, and also it will allow the audience to actually get invested in this character, because there's many people that watch the main roster that don't watch NXT, and they don't know how good Bianca Belair actually is. Bianca as a babyface and a heel is basically the same character. She's great, but right now, have Bianca as a babyface. I'm fine, because Shayna should be your top heel on the Raw Women's division. All right, so hopefully, we see Bianca every single week, and they need to build her up. And then when Charlotte comes back, you should have Bianca feud with Charlotte, and have Charlotte actually put Bianca over. But it was really good to see Bianca back, and I'm hoping, they actually use her correctly, because she has the chance to be the next Sasha Banks. You guys know how much I love Sasha Banks, and that is a huge statement coming from me because I sit here on the podcast every single week and I call Sasha Banks the best female wrestler in the world. Bianca is that damn good. She has the total package. She has the charisma. She has the appearance. She has the in-ring work. She has the promo ability. She looks like a star, just like Sasha Banks. And if WWE, books her correctly, Bianca could be the next star in the Raw Women's division. And then when, Becky and Ronda come back, imagine how good those feuds could be. So, moving on from Bianca Belair, who made her return tonight, let's shift over to Shayna Baszler, who also made her return tonight. So basically, we had a backstage segment. Ricochet and Cedric Alexander were talking to R-Truth. Then R-Truth was getting ready, or R-Truth was confused. R-Truth thought he had a match with Ric Flair tonight. But instead, he forgot and to realize that he actually had a match with Randy Orton. So basically what happens here is, when R-Truth finally realizes he has a match with Randy Orton, and I just realized, R-Truth has been with the WWE for 20 years. So I guess, they were calling R-Truth a legend because of the whole Randy Orton legend gimmick, thing. R-Truth has been around since the Attitude Era, so shout out to R-Truth. But basically, R-Truth found Akira Tozawa, and you guys know they've been feuding over the 24/7 champion. Also, another fun fact, R-Truth is a 37-time, 24/7 champion, which is crazy. But basically, what happens here, R-Truth asked Akira Tozawa to teach him some ninja moves, but instead of teaching him, Akira Tozawa tried to pin R-Truth for the 24/7 championship. R-Truth kicked out, of course, but then he challenged Tozawa to a singles match in the ring. Basically, the match never got started because Shayna Baszler came out, and basically she came out and took out all of Tozawa's ninjas. And R-Truth does, secretly snuck out of the ring. He didn't want any smoke with Shayna Baszler. And then Shayna Baszler cut a very short but really good promo. Basically, Baszler said, "I've been very patient, but I'm getting very tired of waiting." She basically issued a warning to the women's division, promising a reality check. And see, the quote that you guys need to remember is she saying, "And I am that reality." She did say something about all the women's champions living in a delusional fantasy, which I'm just like, not really, because if you look at the women's champions in WWE, they're all beasts and future Hall of Famers. Io Shirai, Asuka, Bayley, Sasha Banks, the best female wrestler in the world. Come on, let's be logical here, But, that's the only problem I really had with Asuka saying that. But overall, this was a good promo by Shayna Baszler, a good reintroduction. Hopefully, like I said, WWE uses Shayna and Bianca properly this time. This is what you need to do. All right, I'm going to say this right now. I'm going to tell you how to book the Raw Women's Championship, basically for the rest of the year. And it's pretty simple. It's not hard. But, Shayna should have won the Raw Women's Championship at WrestleMania. I think we can all agree with that. She should have won the Raw Women's Championship at WrestleMania against Becky. Becky pitched it, but, because Vince is delusional and so out of touch, they decided not to go with that ending. And, I don't know. It was retarded on WWE's behalf to not go with that ending. But still, this is what you gotta do. Asuka is your Raw Women's Champion, which we have no problem with. What I would do, SummerSlam, because we know Sasha Banks is not going to beat Asuka this Sunday, because we know the bigger story is Sasha Banks versus Bayley. What I would do is have Asuka versus Shayna Baszler for SummerSlam. If you want, you can have Shayna win the title there, or if you want to keep the feud going, because like I said, Asuka, Shayna, and Bianca should be, they can all, fight for the championship for the rest of 2020. That's how good those three are. If you want, you can give Shayna the title at SummerSlam, or you can wait till the next show after that. I think it's Clash of Champions or something like that. You can wait then to give the title to Shayna. It doesn't matter. But then, right, you have Asuka and Shayna, feud over the Raw Women's Championship, while Sasha and Bayley are feuding over the SmackDown Women's Championship. And then what you do is, you build up Bianca Belair during the fall. You have Bianca Belair take turns feuding with the entire Rollins division. Have her go up against Nia, have her go up against Liv Morgan, have her go up against Natalya, the Iconics, all that good stuff, and make Bianca Belair into a star. Then when the Women's Royal Rumble comes back next year, right? I don't know if there's going to be a crowd for it. We don't know, you know. But no matter what, when the Women's Royal Rumble happens next year, you know, if Sasha and Bayley doesn't happen this year, I would have Sasha win the Women's Royal Rumble. But if that doesn't happen, I would have then Bianca Belair win the Women's Royal Rumble and then go on to challenge Shayna Baszler for the Raw Women's Championship at WrestleMania. And that's where Bianca gets her big moment and becomes Raw Women's Champion. Excuse me. And then by then, I'm willing to bet Becky will be back. Then you can have Bianca feud with Becky, and then maybe Ronda feud with Bianca. I don't know. But there's a lot of things you could do here. But like I said, Shayna should be the one to take the title off of Asuka, and then you build up Bianca Belair to take that title off of Shayna Baszler. And that way you're building two new stars in the women's division. Hey, you could do something like this. I don't know if WWE's doing Evolution 2. You know, there's reports in 1 second that they are planning it for after SummerSlam, and then there's reports saying that they're not planning it. You know, maybe they're just trying to hide it, that information. I don't know. But hell, if you want to have, you know, Asuka retain at SummerSlam and then wait till Evolution 2 to give Shayna the title, I'm fine with that. But I believe you need to build up Shayna to be the one to take that title off of Asuka. You know, like I said, it's pretty easy. It's simple. You know, WWE so should be able to book this pretty easily if they have any common sense. All right. But, you know, just the fact that Shayna and Bianca are back, let's just pray that WWE books them correctly. Especially during this time when you don't have Becky and you don't have Charlotte. Use these performance center shows to build new stars. Moving on, we had Seth Rollins versus KO. Well, this was a very this segment had a lot of chaos. There was a lot going on here. All right, we know that Seth versus Rey Mysterio, it's going to be an eye for an eye match. And I feel like after what we saw tonight, it's pretty clear who's going to win this match. We'll talk about this a lot on the preview and prediction show later this week. But I feel like most of us know who's going to win the eye for an eye match. Even though we all know there's going to be some freaking CGI in here, which I don't know how it's going to be done. All right. But what happens here? We see Buddy Murphy. Buddy Murphy is backstage talking to Seth, and even Murphy, I kind of like this. Murphy, he is a follower of Seth Rollins, but he is questioning, you know, this whole eye for an eye match. You know, you have Murphy, who is a follower of Seth Rollins per storyline, and now he's questioning, you know, like, damn, are you really going to go this far, going to the lengths of actually removing somebody's eye out? You know what I mean? But Seth said this is what he has to do. And plus, it was Rey that made the challenge. Seth was not the one who made this challenge here. And then Seth comes out and basically, this was a good promo. This was a good promo. He admitted that he thought it was a metaphor when Rey first made the challenge, but that Rey really meant it literally. And I liked how Seth was conflicted here. You know, basically how, you know, the last couple months, and even though I still don't understand what the hell Seth means when he says, basically this is for the greater good. I still have no idea what that means, right? But basically, you know, seeing how Seth was conflicted here about, you know, how Rey actually literally meant, you know, someone's going to lose an eye, even though we know it's going to be CGI and all that other nonsense, right? Seth said that he never wanted to harm Rey like that, but he wanted to, you know, fulfill his prophecy. But, Seth was taking up how Rey's never going to be able to see his son wrestle, how he's never going to be able to look at his kids or his wife ever again, right? And clearly, you know, with Rey Mysterio not on an active contract with WWE, I feel like this is going to be a way to write off Rey, you know, from WWE TV, at least permanently going forward. Right, I think this is probably going to be Rey's last match in WWE, maybe even ever. Because we know Seth ain't leaving anytime soon. right? I love KO. I really want to see him in a title feud going forward. Maybe you could have KO feud with MVP and Bobby Lashley. I feel like that could be something good for KO to go do. I would love to see KO become U.S. champion. But KO said, I think what I find more disturbing is that you're such a scumbag, because he reminded Rollins that he savagely attacked one of the nicest guys in the locker room, which I kind of like that element. Even though I've had problems with the way the storyline has been booked, I kind of wish, Dominic had a little more involvement. But, it's going to be interesting to see how it all comes to a head this Sunday at the Horror Show with this match. And I liked how Owens, mentioned how he pushed Rey Mysterio, one of the nicest guys in the locker room, to such lengths where he would actually want to take someone's eye out for good. You know what I mean? Like, remember, Rey Mysterio, this was the same guy who he faced Andrade in a ladder match for the U.S. title earlier this year. He had the match won, but he stopped because he didn't want to throw Zelina Vega off the ladder. He didn't want to hurt a woman. So I kind of liked how they brought that little element of how nice Rey Mysterio is. And I find it interesting. I feel like that might come into play this Sunday. Maybe Rey's not able to do the job because he's a nice guy. He's not going to be able to bring himself to actually removing Seth's eye. I don't know. I was thinking, I feel like one thing that would have been cool here is if WWE did something like they actually had, KO mention, oh, hey, Seth, after you lose an eye this Sunday, right, you're not going to be able to see, your newborn child when Becky Lynch, delivers her pregnancy at the end of the year. I feel like that would have been a savage line, but WWE didn't go there. Like I said, man, like I'm a better writer. I sit here on this podcast every single week, and I can think of better ideas than WWE can. Like, it's crazy how good I am at this job. But basically, Owens had he invoked the name of Jean-Pierre Lafayette before the match. And then he had an eye patch in his back pocket, and this pissed Rollins off. Because KO was like, this is what you're going to be wearing permanently after this Sunday. All right, so then Buddy Murphy came out, and then Aleister Black came out as well. I thought this was going to turn into a tag team match. I would have got pissed if this turned into a tag team match, but luckily it didn't. But basically, we come back. It was Aleister Black versus Buddy Murphy, which was already announced before the show. They just decided, get out of the way now since, everyone was there for attendance. But just to get through this quickly, Black basically won the match. The match ended by DQ, but Black hit Murphy with a huge black mass. We already know Aleister Black and Buddy Murphy have fantastic chemistry in the ring. Murphy was on the middle rope, and Black hit him with the black mask. And basically, Black went for the pin, but then Rollins pulled Black out and then attacked him, causing the DQ. So Black still wins via DQ. But then Rey Mysterio and Dominic came out, and KO basically attacked as well. And that would lead to KO versus Rollins. We took another commercial break, and this was another good match. KO and Seth have fantastic chemistry. They've had really good matches over the years. The only thing that didn't make sense to me here is Rollins has a match this Sunday. KO needs momentum. You don't want KO losing. So it's a, lose-lose situation here, right? Rollins should not be losing, 6 days before a pay-per-view. But either way, it's whatever. The match was really, really well. But I enjoy this. I enjoyed it. I don't know. It kind of would have made more sense if you had something like this happen at the pay-per-view, because this whole Rollins Messiah storyline has been going on for months, with Humberto and Black and Mysterio and Dominic and, KO. You had all those men at ringside tonight. Why didn't you have that happen at Extreme Rules? It would have been more of a symbolic moment, if you ask me. But either way, man, it was a really good match. Either way, Rollins almost had the match won, but basically he hit KO in the eye, kind of being symbolic because this Sunday it is an eye for an eye match. But basically, after raking Owens' eye, he got distracted by the baby faces at ringside. Owens will Extreme Rules horror show with 2 eyes, but you'll be walking out with only 1. So, with the baby faces being on top, you guys know this is WWE. That most likely means, especially now with, Mysterio not under contract, he's losing. This is going to be a way to write Mysterio off of TV permanently. I don't know if Dominic will stay per storyline, but Ray, he's losing this Sunday. All right, let's be honest here. The only problem I really have here, the match was great. It just didn't make sense really to have Rollins losing 6 days before his big match with Ray. But also KO needs momentum as well. So that's whatever. We had R-Truth versus Randy Orton. Randy Orton had another amazing promo, and it's been rumored that Randy Orton is going to challenge Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship at SummerSlam, which I have been saying. I love Drew McIntyre, and I've been saying he needs to hold the WWE Championship all year long, but the more and more that I think about it, and the work that Randy Orton is doing right now, especially the fact that we're not touring, because Randy Orton, he's not going to be there every single week. He's going to be there way more than Brock Lesnar, but, he has more of a part-time deal. It just makes sense with everything that Randy Orton's doing as the number 1 heel in the company, and this whole, resurgence of the Legend Killer. The more I think about it, the more I want to see Randy Orton as WWE champion. I love Drew, but having Randy Orton as WWE champion and then potentially having him feud with an Adam Cole and a Tommaso Ciampa and an Edge coming back to get his ultimate payback by becoming WWE champion after 10 years, the story is there. The story is there. So we had R-Truth, or before the match, Big Show talked to Ric Flair backstage, and Big Show told Flair to try to tell Randy Orton not to hurt or R-Truth tonight. So we get the match. R-Truth distracted Randy Orton by he's saying, I need to talk to Ric Flair first. He went over to Ric Flair. Orton tried to attack him from behind, but R-Truth stuck her to the in, and R-Truth almost won with the scissor kick, but Orton countered with the RKO and got the victory. After the match, Randy Orton looked like he was going to punt kick Truth, but instead, Big Show came out, and it looked like Randy Orton was never going to actually hurt Truth. He was just trying to get the Big Show, and it was revealed that next week on Monday Night Raw, we will be getting Randy Orton versus Big Show in an unsanctioned match, which I agree with. I didn't want to see this match at Extreme Rules. I didn't want it. I don't want to see Big Show in the ring, period. But if WWE plays this right, Orton takes out Big Show next week with a punt kick, and then you can move Randy Orton on to Drew McIntyre, because McIntyre is going to beat Dolph Ziggler. It works out perfectly. It gives, something to look forward to, because I feel like Randy Orton, with the work that he's doing right now, he could probably, carry Big Show to a really good match, especially if it's unsanctioned, And they've been building towards this the last month, so I don't really have a problem with this. Like I said, this is going to lead Randy Orton to the WWE Championship. But moving on, we're almost at the end here. Ricochet versus MVP. Basically, you guys know Lashley and Ricochet have a really good chemistry. I kind of wish they would have got a little more time here, maybe like 15 minutes, but still, this was a good match. But basically, Ricochet got hit with the full Nelson, and Lashley got the victory here. And then after the match, Alexander tried to make the save, but then he got a full Nelson of his own. They've been trying to tease that Cedric could potentially join the Hurt Business faction with MVP and Lashley, but it looks like right now that's not the case. MVP and Lashley are now being called the Hurt Business, which I have no problem with. But this was good. But we all know this Sunday, MVP is most likely going to actually officially become the United States champion. But like I said, this was good. Ricochet and Lashley have some really good chemistry, and hopefully they continue this over the next couple of weeks. With Ricochet, Apollo Crews, Alexander, MVP, and Lashley. I kind of like what they're doing with this mini program with these 5 men. And moving on into the main event, we had Sasha and Bayley going up against Asuka and Kari Sane. And Sasha and Bayley proved once again why they have been the best thing in all of WWE other than Randy Orton during this performance show era. They showed that tribute video that Sasha and Bayley showed a couple weeks ago on SmackDown once again to get us hyped for the match. Asuka and Kari Sane came out. Sasha and Bayley attacked Asuka and Kari Sane before the bell could even begin, and it was just back and forth. Like I said, I knew Kari Sane was going to take the L here, just because she doesn't have a match at Extreme Rules. Sasha, Bayley, and Asuka should not be losing here, and Sasha had another amazing transition into the base statement, countering Kyrie's sliding elbow into the base statement for the submission victory. So Sasha looks strong going to Extreme Rules. We know Asuka's going to get her payback, probably with a little bit of help with a Bayley interference. This was a great match, all right? And it gets me even more hyped. Sasha and Asuka, I hope they get 20 to 25 minutes at Extreme Rules. We all know how great it's going to be. Drew McIntyre himself said that he is hyped for Sasha versus Asuka. Sasha and Bayley are absolutely carrying the women's division with classic after classic after classic every single week. We know Sasha and Bayley are going to lose those women's tag team titles eventually, but I hope that the team that does take those titles from them actually takes those titles and runs with it, because Sasha and Bayley are carrying the women's division and carrying that women's tag team division. The women's tag team division has never looked as good as it has lately. But other than that, guys, that's it. We got through the Raw review in about an hour here. So thank you guys so much for joining me once again. Raw was actually pretty good today, and it wasn't just because of Sasha Banks and Bayley. The show flowed pretty nicely, and the show actually made sense. So I got to give a thumbs up for Raw tonight. Hopefully SmackDown can, have a resurgence after, how bad SmackDown was last week. That was the worst show of the year last week, man. That karaoke show disaster. But like I said, guys, it's going to be a long week. We're going to have Extreme Rules predictions later this week. We got Tegan Nox and Io Shirai on NXT this Wednesday, plus the start of the Keith Lee era as the new NXT champion. We got SmackDown on Friday, and on Sunday, we have Extreme Rules, the horror show. I'm going to be doing a live reaction to that and a review as soon as the show goes off the air. So make sure you guys like this video. It puts the video in the recommended section. It really helps me out. Also, comment and subscribe if you guys are new to the channel. Enable notifications by clicking the bell next to my name, Fitz TV, so you guys are notified every time I post a new video. Follow me on Twitter. I live tweet every single day during WWE shows. So thank you to everyone who live tweeted with me tonight. Thank you guys for your love and support. I'll be back here with all the podcast content through the rest of the week. Stay safe and healthy, guys. I'll see you guys later. Have a great day, guys. Peace.